while we were up there, the guys from Roadrunner kept calling up to check on some new stuff, and they could hear our music going on in the background. And so they would ask questions, right? And they just kept calling, and every time they were kind of liking what they were hearing in the background. And then so they kind of pushed them a little bit, and they sent them some songs, and they ended up coming to Oklahoma City for a couple of different showcases. So
Wow.
we were about to sign a deal with Roadrunner, and then we get a call from our manager at the time, and he was like, "Hey, don't sign it. Like, don't sign the deal. We've got, Atlantic and Universal and Warner Brothers, and just this list of labels that were into it." And so Atlantic and Universal ended up flying out, took us out to dinner and strip clubs and the whole thing, and we ended up deciding that Universal was the best deal. So we went with them, and then yeah, man, shit got crazy after that.
Cool. I appreciate you
Cool.
doing this, man. I'm excited. Thank you.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for doing it.
Awesome. Well, I'm Adam, and this is about you and your journey in music, and we'll talk about obviously the song you guys just released.
Very cool. Very cool.
Sweet. Just based off of the internet research I did of you, were you born in Plano, Texas? Is that true?
I was born in Plano, but I we moved to Oklahoma whenever I was like a year old. So I've lived
Yeah,
in the city my whole life. Yeah.
that's amazing though. Yeah, my mom's side of the family lives in Plano, so it's
Oh, right on.
crazy. Yeah, I was like, oh
Yeah.
wow, not a whole. I don't know a whole lot of people that ever were born there, but that's awesome, man. Congrats. So yeah, so you're there, and then you moved right away though. When 1 years old, you moved to Oklahoma.
Yeah, yeah. Been in Oklahoma, pretty a small town called Jones, right outside of Oklahoma City. I've lived here my whole life. So yeah.
Wow. Okay. So what was it like? What's it like growing up in Oklahoma?
I mean, I guess it's like anywhere else, honestly. It was cool for me though, because like I said, I grew up in a really small town, so I got to like, I don't know, have that like small town thing growing up. Like, went to a very small school, had a really small, tight knit group of friends, so that was cool. But we were really close to the city, so we had everything we needed, and
Mhm.
got to go and have entertainment whenever we wanted. So it was a good spot.
That's awesome. And what about as far as music goes? Like, how did you get into music? Do you come from like a musical household at all, or?
Well, kind of. My grandfather on my dad's side. I mean, I guess both of my grandfathers played music some, but the one that on my dad's side, he lived in South Dakota, and he was a bluegrass musician, and so he would always come down, once or twice a year, or every other year, or whatever it was, and he'd always bring a guitar down and some harmonicas, and we'd always like make up these like really goofy little songs about farm animals, or ducks, whatever, cats, dogs, whatever. um and so I think that's probably what really got me started into music. um
Okay.
and then several years later, um I was really I don't know, really captivated by the drum line. Whenever I was younger, the high school drum line, we had a
Uh
really
huh.
really solid drum line, and they did some really cool, unique things. And so I kind of got interested in drums, I think, as a result of that. And then started playing guitar shortly after, and then here we are.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So, but did you start off on drums then? Was that like I mean, you were drawn to it, but before that, did you take any guitar, piano lessons, or was it drums the first one you really started to play?
Yeah, so I started on drums first. I think I played for about a year, and then ended up kind of getting into guitar a little bit, but always just kind of self-taught. Same
Hmm.
with drums. I took a few lessons here and there, but I didn't really start getting like super serious about learning drums until we started the band. And
Really?
yeah, I started to kind of get into playing, original music, and thought it was really cool. But up until that point, I didn't really want to be in a band. I didn't really care too much about it. Matter of fact, whenever we got together for the first time to jam, I was thinking to myself, okay, well, if this goes well and everything's good, um, you know, I have a buddy in mind that plays drums. Maybe I'll pass it along to him. You know what I mean?
Oh, interesting.
I don't remember who that was now though, but uh, but
But
yeah, at the time,
you already thought in the beginning, you're like, "I'm probably not gonna play drums for this band, but well,
yeah,
at least we can get going if I'm because I know how to play."
yeah, exactly. And so, and then after the first little practice, I guess that we had our little jam session, I don't know, went better than expected, I would say, and we had a really good time doing it. And I thought it was really special. I thought it could, really turn into something. So, yeah, man. I mean, we just from then on, I think that was the moment that we just decided to get serious about it, and that's where it all started.
Wow. And so you never did drumline then, even though you were you thought that was pretty rad when you're younger. You never actually joined the drumline or the
Yeah,
school
yeah,
band or
I
anything? Or
did,
did
yeah,
you?
but that was more like, and I played a little bit of like jazz band in like early high school, but then had stopped playing, starting my senior year in high school, I think. I just
Mhm.
I don't know, wasn't really into it and figured, you know what, I'm going to college, I'm going to study marketing, I'm going to, find some cool job and then that'll, life will be life, but
Okay.
uh, we started the band, what I guess that might have been our freshman year of college. I met Blower, our guitar player,
Okay.
and that's kind of where it all started. So that yeah, and then we played through college, just local gigs, and then went up to Canada and hooked up with a guy named Joey Moy and another dude named Brian Howes, and went up and recorded our demos for what we thought was going to be an independent album. We did them at Chad Kroger's house from Nickelback, actually.
No way. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So we don't really
How
talk
did you
about.
make that? Yeah, how did you make that connection? Like, was it just I mean, your band must have been doing something to be able to get that opportunity.
Yeah, so it's funny. Like my wife and I, she wasn't my wife then, but she is now. We decided to like start our own little record label when we started really getting serious, and so we were
Mhm.
putting together little regional radio campaigns and kind of, doing all the stuff. And we called up Brian and Joey, and she was I don't know, she was like the contact, right? So uh, she had him convinced that we were some big record label and we were going to pay them to produce the record. And they really thought they were they were getting something, you know what I mean? So we honestly actually almost didn't go that route at all. We almost went to LA and almost did a record with a guy named Warren Riker, who
Mhm.
did like, it was a little more metal, he was doing like Down and
Oh,
some
okay.
really heavy
Wow.
projects
Yeah,
at
that's
the time.
pretty heavy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Some
so
as a group.
I think it was like the week before we were supposed to go out to LA. We ended up connecting with Brian and Joey, and we were huge fans of like, I don't know, the Canadian rock style at the time, and so
Mhm.
we loved Brian's band Closure, and so we were big fans of them, and so we went out and did the record there instead. Like it was supposed to be a whole album. We had a whole album written, and then we got up there, and it was a little heavier, so we decided to scrap it and kind of go a different direction, and ended up coming out of there with 6 songs, and then those were the demos that we shopped around to labels. So
Really? Okay. And then that became then you went back to record the first album? Because you put out what, like a EP or something before that, right? Or was that all part of that same process?
no, we had put out like a little independent thing that we recorded here in Oklahoma City, with
Okay.
a local guy, and we didn't even record it to Pro Tools. It was all the 2-inch tape, and
Dang.
really editing it all. It was just like this really rough, I don't know, kind of organic sounding thing, and songs were pretty terrible. We weren't really like writing together yet
Mhm.
when we put that one out. So it wasn't until later that we really kind of, I don't know, got a little more seasoned in the songwriting game. So yeah,
Okay. And so you recorded those demos which you ended up shopping around, and part of that was probably I mean, Lips of an Angel was probably part of that group, I would imagine, or no?
actually, no, that song
Really?
wasn't on the original like 6 songs that we did. That one came
Later
a
then?
little bit later. Yeah.
So did you end up getting signed with that? Like, what happened from those demos? Is that how you ended up getting the record deal?
Yeah, yeah. So we had, I can't remember what all songs we had. I think we had Get Stoned. I think we had Better Than Me. a song called Room 21, and a couple others. And while we were up there, the guys from Roadrunner kept calling up to check on progress on the Nickelback stuff,
Oh,
or it could have been Theory of a Dead Man at that time. I don't remember, but they were calling up to check on some new stuff, and they could hear our music going on in the background, and so they would ask questions, right? And at the time, those guys were like, "Oh, yeah, don't worry about that. It's just these dumbass kids from Oklahoma City."
yeah.
Like,
They're just paying us to record this.
yeah, we're just fine. We don't. This isn't going to be anything. Don't worry about it. And they just kept calling, and every time they were kind of liking what they were hearing in the background. And then so they kind of pushed him a little bit, and they sent him some songs, and they ended up coming to Oklahoma City for a couple of different showcases. So
Wow.
we were about to sign a deal with Roadrunner, and then we get a call from our manager at the time, and he was like, "Hey, don't sign it. Like, don't sign the deal. We've got, Atlantic and Universal and Warner Brothers, and just this list of labels that were into it." And so Atlantic and Universal ended up flying out, and over like 2 or 3 days, and took us out to dinner and strip clubs and the whole thing, and we ended up deciding that Universal was the best deal. So we went with them, and then yeah, man, shit got crazy after that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that shit must have been even crazy then, though, right? You're thinking, we're gonna take this seriously. Let's record these songs, and then you have all these all the major labels are coming out to Oklahoma City to see you guys play and want to take you out to eat or you know wine and dine you for your because
Yeah,
that must have still. I mean, that must have been wild in itself. I would imagine.
man, it really was. Like a bunch of dumbass kids from Oklahoma, we didn't think we had a shot of like, getting a deal with a major record label, you know.
Hmm.
I mean, much less like one of the biggest labels in the world. So,
Right. Well, all the
for
biggest
us,
ones were there. More Atlantic,
yeah, right.
Universal. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, but there's some stipulations with the Atlantic thing. I think they wanted us to like change our band name, and they didn't want us to do any ballads. They wanted to take us back a little heavier.
Mm,
Um, and Universal was like really seeing the vision, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
that just that just made sense, and we went to Canada right after that, finished the record. That's when we had already written Lips of an Angel, but we hadn't recorded it yet.
Okay.
um, that's when we kind of finished everything up. I mean, and then, man, it was a matter of months, and we were out on the road doing the thing, man. And Get Stoned was out on the radio, and then, you know, shortly after, Lips of an Angel came out, and we were out
Yeah.
touring, touring with Nickelback, and we ended up doing Aerosmith and then Motley Crue, and I
Gee.
mean, just doing it all, like
Yeah.
crazy.
I started in radio, terrestrial radio. Um, and when I started, the station I was on was playing Get Stoned. That was like it was like that era of time. I
Okay.
remember that's I remember I was like, "Oh, man." And then yeah, and then obviously Lips of an Angel came out, and that would even blew that song. That song is so big. I mean, both of them were, but, like, Lips of an Angel just really probably changed everything for you all, I'd imagine.
Oh, it really did, man. Uh I remember playing the show with Nickelback. I mean, the whole tour. And normally when you're playing, like, you're in the first of four bands, right? You're the first of four bands,
Mhm.
first slot. You're playing early, and most
Yeah,
people
you're
are
playing
just
when people
getting
are
off
coming
work.
in.
Yeah, right. So people don't usually show up until about halfway through the second band, or a little bit later. And I remember looking it up at one point while we were playing Lips of an Angel, and uh, it was just packed full. I mean, there wasn't an empty seat in this arena, and it was just solid lighters. And so
That's
I was
so
like,
crazy.
that was just like a really crazy moment for me, where I was like, holy shit, like, this is really happening. Like, this is a different level than any of us had realized at that point. So yeah, man, things got really, really interesting from there.
Wow. And I mean, as the drummer, you're also you songwrite. You've been songwriting for the band since the beginning too, as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And then, as time goes on, you get more interested in some other aspects too. So now, we're doing songwriting and producing, and I've gotten really into mixing and mastering. And so that's kind of how we operate now. It's kind of like a real like DIY operation, I guess. You know what I mean? We're very hands-on with everything.
Yeah, you have your own recording company, right? Or you did? Or
Yeah, Marshall and I, we work on some things here and there, when we're not touring or recording our own stuff. So yeah, we've written for quite a few people, and we've done some production for other people and mixing and mastering. So
that's cool, man. That's really. Did you guys do you mix and master your own stuff like for the new song? Did you do everything with that? Like
yep,
recorded it,
yep.
mix it? That's cool.
Start to finish, man. The whole thing was done right here. So
Wow, that's incredible.
yeah.
When it comes to like the band, I mean, you have this huge success with this first album. Were you like going into that next record? Were you guys like concerned at all? Like, were you like, are we going to be able to follow this up, or are people, or did you not have that mentality at all?
No, we did. I mean, I don't know. We were pretty confident, honestly, going into that
Hmm.
second record. We didn't really take much time to let it all sink in. We just kind of, after we finished touring, which was pretty much nonstop.
Yeah,
Um,
especially when you have a massive song, right? Like that, they'll keep you on the road. I would
yeah,
imagine.
yeah. We felt like we had some songs that were, I don't know, bigger and better than Lips on the second record. And the label was very confident. As a matter of fact, I remember finishing a song and sending it in, and our A&R guy was like, "This is the kind of song that buys you islands." You know what I mean? So we were getting, pumped full of a bunch of bullshit, basically. But yeah, we were young, man. We were naive. We were buying it all. So we thought everything was going to keep rolling at the same level. And I mean, now looking back, I'm kind of grateful that it didn't. I don't know that we would have survived the
Mhm.
process, but we're I don't know, we've been lucky though. We've been able to kind of to maintain at a pretty high level, and keep our
Yeah.
career going for a really long time. So I don't know, we're grateful for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have been around, what, 2 at least 20, coming 20 years now. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, we formed the band in 2001, and we're still doing it. So
That's amazing, man. When it came to, like, getting, Marshall and then your new in the band and stuff, that must have been was that a time, like, I mean, for him, I'm sure he's gotta come into this band where there's already all this success, right? And he's gotta sing these songs that were done by someone else prior. Um, like, when you guys was that something that you was that hard for you guys as a band? Like, getting a new singer and then continuing on? Like, when The Smoke Clears comes out, for example.
yeah, I mean, honestly, like the process behind the scenes was a little more, I don't know, it was quite a bit easier, honestly. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
Marshall he'd been a songwriter and a producer behind the scenes for quite some time. At that point, he
Yeah.
started, him and I started working together, prior to the third record, prior to the All American Nightmare record.
Oh, wow.
So he was already singing a lot of the demos. We were doing a lot of the stuff in the back lounge of our bus while we were on tour, doing demos and stuff. So he ended up, coming on board on that third record, and co-producing along with myself and Kevin Cherko. And so we did that third record, and then the last album that we did on Universal, Welcome to the Freak Show, we did that one here as well, and that was just the two of us for production. So yeah, when that happened, I mean, it was just all pretty seamless. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
The toughest part was, reading all the comments, from people that couldn't accept the change, and it was happening no matter what. There was no way around it, right? So, there's just a lot of people that couldn't accept it, and we made the mistake of like being really invested in those comments. We felt like, a lot of our fans would, I don't know, we felt like people had turned their backs on us, you know what I mean, without giving us a chance and understanding our position and our side of the situation. And so, that was a little heartbreaking for a while. But then I think over time, people got used to the idea. I mean, there's still a lot of those people out there that are spitting hate, but the thing is I've quickly realized that it's not just us. It's any band
Right.
that goes through any kind of change at all or any kind of hardship. I think people just they feel better if they get the chance to go out and tell somebody off or be hateful, be
100%.
shitty. So
Right.
um, I
Which
think
is it's interesting that it's been, like, over 10 years and people are still
I don't know, man.
like,
Like
dude, like, you've probably been a band longer n after the fact. You
we
know what
have,
I mean?
yeah,
It's like, let's
yeah.
go.
So
But it is interesting because I mean, you probably get you get thousands upon thousands of positive comments, and then the one bad one is just like it just cuts, It's weird how
yeah,
it works.
that's the one you see. That's the one you read. Even if you did read 1,000 before, you see that one. That's the one you focus on. That's
Of
the
course.
so.
Yeah.
But that's okay. It's life, and like I said, we've kind of made it through, and now we're cruising and doing the thing still. So that's the
Yeah,
important part.
man. Yeah, you guys are killing it. I love it. Well, so going into like, let's talk about going into like, you put out the rain in
I think that was 17,
2017 or so,
something like
and
that.
then you guys took a little break from touring and stuff, and then you're getting ready to do the extreme behavior like anniversary tour, right? And then COVID hits.
Yeah, 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 and right around that time too, we had written and recorded an entire album.
Oh,
Um,
you did.
yeah, we did, and then we were kind of trying to like recreate some of that like throwback sound from the first record.
Mm-hmm.
And then I felt like it was just maybe a little too contrived or something. It didn't feel modern. It didn't feel honest. So we decided to kind of just scrap all that and start
Wow.
over. So that's the new album is has been happening for quite some time. We've been working on it for a long time.
So
Didn't
they,
even know
yeah.
it
So,
though. Like, to be honest, we even
oh,
realized that we were working on an album because we'd kind of decided that we weren't really feeling doing new music because people just want to hear. They want to come to the shows and hear the songs that
hear the
they
hits
would
that
hear
they want. Yeah.
live or whatever. So but we decided, we had a bunch of really great songs just sitting on a hard drive, in the studio, and we had, I don't know, kind of felt the urge to write some new stuff as well. So we dove in and got it done.
Wow. Okay, so you have a whole album of music that you guys are gonna be putting out.
Yeah, we have an album coming out next year. We don't have like an exact date yet.
Yeah.
But we have an entire album
Wow.
coming. So
That's amazing. So, with that stuff that you scrapped, like, that album, it'll just be an album that you guys did, and it will just never see the
yeah, I
light
mean,
of
I
day.
seriously doubt is it any of that stuff. I will see, but yeah, sorry, my dog's going crazy there.
Oh,
But
no worries.
yeah, so we have a lot of material, man. We do a lot of writing. Marshall and I have really, I don't know, we do a lot of different styles. We had an alternative project for a little while.
Yeah,
Uh,
oh, yeah, the what I for what's it something
uh,
hippies, right? I can't
yeah,
remember.
Dangerous Hippies. Yeah,
Dangerous Hippies. That's a
yeah,
cool
we were having
project.
fun with that one. And then I like to say that Marshall turned into an asshole and broke up the band. That's
Oh.
a joke. He didn't like it much, but it was cool, man. It was a cool project. We had a lot of fun with it.
That's awesome. Yeah, you put out Halos to or the song Halo in 2019. That was what another one off. That wasn't part of that first album or the album you're talking about that you guys scrapped.
Yeah, we did that one, and we did a cover of "Life in the Fast Lane" as
Yeah,
well.
the Eagles song. I love that cover. I was
Oh,
actually listening to that earlier today.
thank you, thank you. Yeah, we were just kind of, I don't know, we get bored. So I sometimes I forget about those songs, to be honest. Like, or at least Halo, I forget about that one quite a bit. We play "Life in the Fast Lane" in our live set, so
Hmm.
I remember that one. But yeah, I forget about Halo.
Halo's a good song, man. You guys should bring it back.
Oh, thank you.
um, well, let's talk about the new one then. Live
Cool.
without it. Yeah. So, like, when did you guys write this one? Has this been in the process, the can, like, so to speak, where you said you guys are always writing, and this is just the one that you decided to go with?
Yeah, that one we actually kind of wrote later in the process. You know, we decided we were going to go out to LA and try to work with another producer because it had been so long since we'd done that. And you know, we went out and we tracked 4 songs, and that wasn't one of them.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, and then we came back and we decided we needed another rock song, so we wrote "Live Without It," and then decided that we weren't happy, we weren't loving the process, you know, and it was going to be like a production deal as well as a record deal, and then could never really agree to terms that we felt comfortable with, and
Mhm.
so we decided to kind of start over with those two and re-recorded everything and mixed it and mastered it. So yeah, with live without it, it was just kind of like I said, we needed one more rock song, and it ended up being one of the stronger tracks.
That's awesome. With, like, has your writing style changed within the or I don't know, is role or within the band changed at all since, like, those or in the beginning? Like, I mean, obviously, you've been writing the songs and music with the band since the beginning, but when it changed, when your singer changed, like, lyrically, like, are you still contributing that way, or is the same or not the same anymore?
Yeah, I'd say it's about the same.
Oh,
I think
okay.
yeah, like I think when people get in a room and start making music, I don't think there's like a set formula.
Sure.
Some days, I'll contribute, the majority of the lyrics, and then some days Marshall will contribute the majority of the lyrics. It kind of just depends on, the flow of the song and how it's going. A lot of times if you get on a roll and somebody, I guess, has a hot hand that day, you just kind of
Mhm.
with it and just let it be what it's supposed to be.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I'm just asking because some bands have like, this is the singer and he writes all the lyrics. Like we just kind of and you play that you're the drummer and you have so much in you're so involved in lyrics, songwriting and every aspect of the band. I think that's really awesome. I find that fascinating because I can't name a bunch of people that are in that position as the drummer of the band.
I know quite a few drummers that are really involved on that side. Brian from 10 Years is one example. I don't think
Okay.
he's drums in the band at the moment, but he kind of hops around, and does different
Yeah.
things. He's one of those guys. So, I always think that's really cool when guys have the ability to just kind of jump around and fill in different roles. That's pretty cool.
100%. Yeah, I think that's amazing. I think that, that's awesome that you do that within the band. It's like, yeah, I'm drumming, but I also write songs. I can play guitar and I can do all these other things, do production, master, mix, all that. To have such a big, weight. You hold a lot of weight in the band. I think that's awesome. As some people might just go, oh, well, Marshall must write all the songs and sing because he's a singer. I don't know
Right.
if
Yeah,
that makes
yeah.
any sense. What
Yeah,
I'm
well,
saying.
it's really cool. It's really cool that we don't have those egos, where
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
feels like, well, if I didn't contribute this, then I don't like it, or you know what I mean. If
Right.
I didn't, I think all that's gone. We're very, I don't know, we're all adults now, and we're just kind of like, I don't know, like I said, feeling lucky and grateful that we're still able to do this. So, however, we have to, whatever we have to do to make it happen is what everybody's on board for. And I think that's pretty special and pretty cool.
100%. I love it. Well, Cody, thank you so much, man, for doing this. This has been really a pleasure speaking with you. With this new album, you said next year you guys are going to put out a full length, probably.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we actually have some. I don't even know. I'm probably going to get in trouble for spilling the beans here, but we actually have another track that we're going to release before that. So that's going to be coming up fairly soon. So before the new year. So everybody should keep an eye out for that, and then maybe maybe two more. I don't know. We'll see before we drop the entire album. So it's a pretty
Awesome.
pretty lengthy album too. So it's cool.
I love it, man. And then yeah, I know you have one show coming up this month, I believe. You're
Yeah,
doing a festival in
yeah.
Texas or something.
18th in Yuma, Arizona,
Oh,
and then
Arizona.
yeah, and then we have just kind of some like kind of spot dates for the rest
Hmm.
of the year, and then have a few dates already on the books for next year, and then we have a tour that we're in the process of just now putting together. That if it happens, it's going to be pretty cool and pretty special. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Align with the album, hopefully.
yeah, a lot of the album, and, we're going to be bringing some other bands that we've been friends with that are kind of, I don't know, kind of came out around the same time as us, so could be really cool.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm really excited, man. And thank you again so much, Cody, for doing this. I have one more question for you. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Yeah, I do. I'd say like just learn everything you can, like don't just be a musician and think that that's going to be good enough. I think things are just so different now that you have to be more than a musician. You have to be a video editor, you have to be a graphic designer. If you want to travel and tour, you probably need to learn how to be a mechanic. You know what I mean? Like, you have to learn how to record your stuff like really well and professionally, and take the time to really dig into your craft. So I'd say that's probably the biggest thing.